Hey everybody, Jake here and welcome to the hobby. Today we are going to be rating and reviewing viewer submitted Pokemon cards. I got a lot of submissions, so let's go over some of these. Did some actual research, looked into the grading population, how much they're going for on eBay auctions. So I'm trying to really understand viewer submissions, and so hopefully I can give you guys some solid advice in here. First up, we got Marco M, who asked, any of the regular Evolution VMAX from Evolving Skies, especially Umbreon VMAX, they look so good but are fairly common. Is it worth it to grade them for grading and profit, or is there too much risk compared to the amount of reward? And I think you got it, Marco. There is way too much risk for the amount of rewards. When it comes to modern graded Pokemon cards, it's pretty much a PSA 10 or bust. Most people aren't really willing to spend any dollars above an ungraded copy for a PSA 9. A PSA 9 is pretty much the same as an ungraded copy on the secondary market. A big part of that is because for modern Pokemon cards, they tend to be so abundant that you can find pretty much gem mint ungraded copies very easily. So why settle for anything less than a 10? If you're a serious collector, and most people tend to want perfection, they're going to want a 10. So unless you have a PSA 10, I really don't think it's really worth grading it, especially for non-alt art, non-secret rare card. If you have just a regular VMAX, those are significantly more challenging. Those people are going to be extremely picky about, because as you said, they're fairly common. When something's that common, you might as well get the very, very high-end cards, which are the PSA 10s. So I don't think it's worth it to be grading regular Evolution VMAX. Next up, we have Retrovirus, who asks, I open up 4 Marnie Premium Tournament Collection. Every Marnie promo is a little bit off-centered. Should I still grade these at PSA or wait till grading gets cheaper again? I think you should definitely wait till grading gets cheaper. If grading cost drops to around $10 to $20, I think that's when it's actually worth it to grade these Marnie Premium Tournament Collection for trainer cards. Like you said, they're a little bit off-centered, so unless you're very confident that they can be a PSA 10, it is not worth it to grade. Once grading cost goes down to $10 to $20, that's when it's actually worth taking the risk, and you still make out and break even at a PSA 9. So yeah, I would not grade those right now. Next up, we have TGI Mikey, who asks, I picked up a PSA 10 Kanazawa Pikachu promo for around $60, wondering what you would think of cards like this. Will they become more desirable as the years go on? Looking at recent eBay sold listing for the Kanazawa Pikachu in a PSA 10, they're going for around $100 to $120. So it sounds like you got an absolute steal, doubled your value already. I'm assuming you bought it when it was a little bit cheaper. These cards are really cool, and I do think some of these Pikachu promo cards are gonna have a lot more legroom as the years go on. Super cool card. There's 2 different versions of it. One is significantly more rare than the other. One of the Kanazawa Pikachu is only available inside of the Kanazawa Pokemon Center box. The other one was available to anyone that went into a Japanese Pokemon Center. They just handed out these Pikachu promo cards as soon as you walked into the door. Isn't that cool? Wish I was there. Next one comes from AA Ron, who says, got a few for you. First up is the 2010 Pikachu World Collection, all mint except for 1 moderately played cards. All those cards are currently going for around $30 to $50 per card in an ungraded copy. Even if you have a PSA 9, they're still going for around $80 to $90. So I would say they're not really worth getting graded right now unless you are really confident in a 10, because most people aren't really looking for this card even in a 9. And at the minimum cost of $100 per card right now, which is what PSA's minimum is, it's definitely not worth it at that price. Next card up on your comment is the Dark Feraligatr Neo Genesis Unlimited. I couldn't find a Dark Feraligatr in Neo Genesis, so I don't think that's the one. I think you might be talking about Neo Destiny. Feraligatr, super cool. It's personally my favorite from that gen, but they're not that expensive. Even for an unlimited copy, you can find one in near mint condition for around $40. So that's another card that I don't think is probably worth grading. The last one you have is Dark Gyarados XY60 pre-release. And I think this one is actually worth grading. So this card is actually kind of rare. In an ungraded copy, you're probably looking at $50 to $60. There are so few people grading this card right now that if you think you have a mint copy, I actually think it is worth it to grade this card. It's going to be a hard sell. There are not a lot of people looking for this card unless you're like PokeRev or something who loves Gyarados. Super cool card. If you find the right collector for it, they're going to be willing to pay top dollar for a PSA 10, but that's going to be sparse. It's a smaller market. Next question comes from Hilandaris, who says, hey, TwicebakedJake, I have a Brock's Grit full art from XY Evolutions that is in pristine condition and is autographed by Eric Stewart, the voice of Brock. Should I get it graded or keep it raw? I'm in the market to sell it, but was wondering what your opinion was. I've had offers for around $100 to $150, but turned them down. What kind of value would this gain if graded? For an autograph card, you have to get it graded. No one is going to pick up an autograph card ungraded. I personally would not do that. I need that authentication. Anyone can scribble a signature on a card. Authentication of a signature is significantly more important than an authentication of a grade. It changes everything. How much is this card worth? I don't know. It's honestly might be a one of a kind. I don't know who else has a Brock's Grit signed by Eric Stewart. And I don't know if there's that many people that want them, but the people that do want them are willing to pay top dollars. So personally, I would value the card at around $500. You might want to set the price at $1,000 and just look for offers. You never know. Sometimes I've had some insane asks before and I just don't know where the value lands. So I put it high and I slowly lower it until I find the right buyer. But for something like this, it's going to be a slow sell if you ever want to sell it at all, but it has to be authenticated. You have to authenticate a signature. No one's going to pick up an autographed card unless it's authenticated, because 9 out of 10, an unauthenticated autographed card is going to be a fake. On to the next viewer Pokemon card, we have Taylor Hart, who says, I love your opinion on which is better, buying a card with the intent to grade or buying a card already graded. I've been collecting some Japanese McDonald's promos. I bought some raw cards that I plan on getting graded. After the cost of shipping and grading and the cost of the card, I will likely spend close to what a PSA 10 copy of the card would be. Do you think you can save money buying raw cards and grading them, or should I just buy them graded? Great question, and the answer is it depends on the card. You did a great analysis. If you think that all the costs from shipping, buying, searching, grading is pretty much the equivalent of a PSA 10, then at that point you should just pick up a PSA 10. But if you can find an ungraded gem mint copy on the open market very easily, then that's what I would do. For modern Pokemon cards, I'm usually out looking for ungraded gem mints. For vintage cards, it's pretty much impossible. You're never gonna find a base set Charizard gem mint ungraded. It's just not possible anymore. They don't exist on the open market. It's unheard of. So for a card like that, if you want a PSA 10, you have to buy a PSA 10 because they don't exist ungraded gem mints anymore. But for a lot of modern cards, there are plenty of ungraded gem mints. Plenty. So for a lot of modern cards, I'm willing to go searching for ungraded copies. It's also fun. That's part of the hobby for me, is just searching and finding hidden treasures. It's one of my favorite part of just collecting Pokemon cards, is finding those hidden gems. Next up, we have Mahal89, who says, hey Jake, how about base set 1999 to 2000 print? They are still so low pop. People just don't seem to care or know about them. And I think you answered your own question there. A big part of it is that base set 1999 to 2000 is considered the fourth and final print run of base set. You have first edition base set, shadowless base set, and then you have unlimited base set. 1999 to 2000 is a print run that came out even after unlimited base. The only unique identifier to it is the copyright year is 1999 to 2000. that's not going to excite a lot of collectors. Most collectors have abundant options when it comes to base set. If you're a high-end collector, you got first edition. If you're a low-end collector, you got base set unlimited. Why go for more than that? Outside of Charizard, which everyone is going to collect regardless of what set it's in, I really don't see the point in collecting base set 1999 to 2000. That's not going to excite most collectors unless you're a completionist. Next question comes from Kim Olivia, who asks, what about any alt arts in Chilling Reign like Zoroa V or Slow King V? Yes, alt art are totally worth it right now. I'm looking at prices for cards like Slow King V and Zoroa V, and the alt art versions are selling for upwards of $200 in a PSA 10. So there are people collecting these cards. Alt art cards are really, really hot right now, and I think they'll continue to be attractive in the future. These cards are truly art cards. They're not computer generated artworks. Someone painted or drew these cards. They're all really cool, and I think they're fantastic. Alt art collectors are wanting complete sets. They want every single copy in a PSA 10 of every single alt art cards. That seems to be the case for most collectors. Some collectors who are on a budget won't be able to collect every card, but if they have the expendable income, people are willing to drop big dollars to get a complete set of these cards. So pretty much any alt art cards in a PSA 10 is totally worth it right now. Next up, we have Zbat, who asks, I have a PSA 10 stamp box Pikachu and was wanting to sell it for approximately $500, but I don't want to kick myself if it has the same effect as the Screaming Pikachu from years ago and goes up heavily. I am needing to sell it to pay off student loans, but if needed, I could sell other cards in my collection I'm more fond of. This one isn't that special to me as I'm not a Pikachu collector. I think $500 is a fair value, and if you are not attached to the card, I think $500 is a good price. Ungraded copies of the Pikachu stamp box promo are still readily available. There's a lot of copies of them floating around the open market. There's thousands of them, in fact. So if you are looking to sell a card, I think $500 is a good price for that card. Will it go up in value? Yes, it definitely could. However, it's going to take a while. This card is going to take a while before it see any discernible jump in value. I think in 5 years, it's certainly going to go up from $500. Who knows how expensive it'll go. But if you are looking for an immediate return on your card, I think PSA 10, $500 is great. That's way more than worth it. So, and I totally understand selling off Pokemon cards to pay off your student loan. I had to sell off a bunch of Pokemon cards to buy the house that I'm currently living in. So I totally understand it. There are some things that are more valuable than collectibles, and pay off what is needed for you, dude. Next question comes from Christian Ibarra, who says, I have a shiny Charizard VMAX, but I think it is virtually flawless. Guaranteed PSA 10 in my opinion. That is a bold statement. However, I'm tempted to try and go for a BGS Black Label, but I'm afraid of it somehow coming back less than a BGS 10. What are your thoughts? That's just part of the risk, my friend. If you do think you have a legitimate perfect copy, then I would say go for that Black Label. It's super worth it. It's definitely a risk, but with every risk comes reward. I think the reward is definitely worth it. A Black Label shiny Charizard VMAX is going to go exponentially more, be more valuable than a PSA 10. That's just the market. Black Label cards are considered significantly more premium than PSA 10. However, the requirements to meet a Black Label are significantly higher. But if you think you have a perfect card, I would say go for it because the jump in value is totally worth it. Worst case scenario, if you don't get a BGS 10, then just re-examine the card. Maybe you missed something on it. If you are truly confident in your grading, then go for it. I would take the risk. I think it's just fun. It's just a fun journey to go on. And who knows, if you do get a Black Label, that's going to be a great story to tell your grandkids someday. So I would do it. It's worth the story in its own. And it sounds like you think you are confident in it, and I would bet on myself if I were you. Next question, we have Mark Trevor who asks, my Crystal Lugia is currently at PSA. Next card I'm considering to grade is my Gyarados Gold Star from Holon Phantoms. It has some faint binder damage, only visible against bright light. Without the light, I think it's better. Mark, that's a card I would grade even if it was a PSA 1. It sounds like you don't have a PSA 1. It sounds like you have like a PSA 5, PSA 6, maybe a PSA 4. A Gyarados Gold Star in a PSA 4 is still a $400 to $500 card. That is an extremely expensive card. This is a card you're going to want to grade regardless of what condition it is. It needs to be authenticated. It's going to save you so much hassle when you're looking to ever offload this card, sell it off, or trade it for other collectibles, because the person on the other end, they're going to want a guaranteed on the condition. They want to know that it's authentic, and they want to know what condition it's in. If you were to try to sell this card ungraded, you're going to have to take 1,000 pictures. You're going to have to answer so many questions from buyers just to get rid of it. And honestly, grading a card saves so much hassle. I just have to take one picture and that's it. Everyone can agree it's a PSA 9, it's a PSA 10, it's a PSA 8. It saves so much trouble when a card is authenticated. I pretty much never sell a card unless it's graded anymore, just because of the amount of hassle that grading Pokemon cards save me. And for a card that is worth $500, even for a slightly damaged copy, I think it's totally worth it to grade this card, even at the $100 grading cost right now. I would only do the $100 grading cost if you're looking to offload the card in the immediate future. If you're willing to hold on to the card in the foreseeable future until grading cost goes down, then you can save significantly more money in the long run. So it's totally up to you. It's all about the time value of money here. What do you prefer more, selling this card right now or holding it off longer? Because patience is a virtue, and the value of Pokemon cards do tend to go up the longer you hold on to them. All right, everybody, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will try to answer as many of your comments as I can. If you have additional Pokemon cards that you want me to discuss or review, if you would like to have your questions answered live, then join my membership. I reply to every single member question. You have immediate access to me, and all it costs is $2.99. So you're pretty much buying me a coffee, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.